The other day, we were having a big problem with the stream. It kept collapsing. And I was doing this video, and it shut off in the middle of it. So we're going to do this video and actually do it right. This is PragerU's How the Left Sees the World, Power, Race, and Class. We did not finish it. It's not going to be good. PragerU sucks. But they're going to explain to us, the left, how we view the world. And we're going to talk about it. Should be totally not shit, right? Should be totally good. It's definitely not going to be bad. It's definitely only going to be good. Hoika, man, thanks for the 8 months. Oh, so I'm excited for PragerU explaining to us how we think. Should be just fine. We are literally going to be mansplained to by Dennis Prager. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? You're getting some wine? Well, hurry up, because I'm about to start it.
Why does the left hate Israel?
Oh! Oh! Okay.
On the surface, it doesn't make sense. Israel is a liberal democracy.
Oh.
It extends full rights to women,
Oh.
to gays, and to its many Arab citizens.
Look at, this is the gay. This is one of the gays. And to its many Arab citizens. You know what else it does? It's also an apartheid state that bombs people over a small strip of land. A strip of land that, really, in the long run, who fucking cares? Why don't you just coexist, man? This is a problem. This is a big problem. We've talked about this before. Let's talk about the Israel-Palestine situation. Here goes. You want to know the hot take on the Israel-Palestine situation? It sucks. It's shitty. And really, the problem doesn't lie in their, in it's not really their fault, but they do have to deal with it now. Thanks for following, Mr. Milkshakes. Really, the fault lies in post-World War II Reconstructionism based upon white Western world leaders and their decision making. I mean, you look at someplace like Afghanistan or Iraq. Part of it was split up. You know, these countries were like solidified after World War II, really. And part of it is like they didn't even take into account cultural lines. India has a very similar problem with Pakistan in West India. Like that whole situation is really exacerbated by the fact that a bunch of white people decided that they knew best and they could colonize and imperialize and do all this shit and then be like, you know what, you guys are over there, these guys are over here, and then you have this cultural difference that just doesn't vibe because they were literally not the same people. It just fucked up. Like, the reason the Middle East is the way it is largely at fault of I mean, of course, I'm not giving a pass to religious extremists or anything like that, and I wouldn't, because fuck those people. But at the same time, I mean, you got to look at causality all the way down. It's like being mad at. You can be mad justifiably at someone like. Her ramble was. Thank you, Rec, for following. You could be mad justifiably for the Taliban, for instance. But we armed the Taliban so that they could fight Russians, and then when we were done arming them so that American citizens didn't die, only Afghani people died. They were left with a power vacuum the Taliban filled with no infrastructure, and then they woke up every day seeing "Made in America" on the side of bombs. Like it just reminded them every day how fucked they were, that they were left to just sort of like deal with it after the U.S. played a proxy war during the Cold War through their fucking country. I mean, this kind of shit happens all over the place. This is not ideal. This is not ideal. Yeah, Reagan, the Iran Contra. Like, I mean, it just there's endless examples of how we fucked that situation up, and then you go over to Israel, and it's like they're not doing much better right now. They're doing the same shit.
Like all countries, which are made up of flawed human beings, Israel is flawed.
Yes.
But compared to most countries, not to mention its neighbors, it is a civil rights paradise.
I mean, our standard is not, Muslim theocracies Muslim theocracies are not the paragons of civil rights, according to Western standards that we ought to be like. Well, at least they're not as bad as their neighbors. It's like, that's not the standard, Dennis. That's not what we're going for. You fucking dum-dum. Lebanon and Egypt aren't right next to what? He's not talking about the well, at least I don't think he is. They're across the water, I suppose. I just like this is Israel we're talking about, you know. So I guess in the Gaza Strip and shit. I guess I wasn't thinking that we were talking about Egypt and Lebanon.
So why does the left hate Israel? The reason...
Whoa! I don't think anyone said they hate. I don't think that... What? Who said we hate Israel? Hey, show of hands. Anyone hate Israel? Like, hate them? Like, what? That's a pretty strong take. I think a lot of people are disappointed in the militarized government and the imperialism, but Israel in general? Nah, I'm cool with Israel. It's whatever, man. I do think it's fucking strange. That conservatives like to suckle so much. Like, why not just be like, hey, this is why we shouldn't advocate for Palestinian bombings. How about that? How about we don't advocate for anyone to bomb the shit out of somebody because they're mad? Like, it just exacerbates all the problems. I don't know. I was talking about this the other day before the stream dropped. My go-to in this situation, like as a political person, if I was running for president or whatever, let's say in 2024 or whatever, and I totally won in a landslide against the incumbent Joe Biden, Kamala Harris ticket, which is definitely going to happen because of corn. My take on this, if asked about like how would you deal with Israel Palestine, like why don't we just like fucking have a dialogue, bro? And I know that's like just talk about it, forehead. Sure, but I'm not just gonna fucking side with Israel because we did it earlier. Let's actually talk about it. Let's get Palestinians, Israelis. Let's talk about it. What's the fucking problem here? It's the Gaza Strip. Why is that a problem? Okay, so what would a grand unified country be a bad thing? If you both had representation within it, why would that be bad? Is it like it's taking something from Israel or Palestinians when you both get to live in the same area still? Why is it a big deal? I don't know. Let's talk about it. It's very complicated. It probably wouldn't get worked out by me, but that's my take on it. Let's have a dialogue about it. It's better than bombing each other. And I would be very adamant with people like, hey, if you're bombing folks, this includes us. If we're bombing folks, we probably should stop. Should probably stop that. Bombs don't fucking help people. You know what the least helpful thing is? A bomb. When's a bomb fix stuff? A bomb doesn't fix stuff. It just ruins things. It blows stuff up. If I see one of you liberal fucks type the words Hiroshima or Nagasaki, I swear to God, I swear it.
Is that the left, and as I always emphasize, I am talking about the left, not about liberals, is not guided by a moral compass.
Okay.
It is.
What do you think I'm guided by?
It's guided by three other compasses. A power compass.
Bombs fixed Ireland? I disagree.
A race compass, and a class compass. Let's begin with the power compass. Instead of evaluating people and nations on the basis of right and wrong or good and evil, the left evaluates them on the basis of weak and strong.
True. That's exactly how we think. I don't know, man. Fixes the problem if I'm in urgent need of a crater. True.
If you're weak, you're good. If you're strong, you're bad.
Okay, so who's better, chat? We're going to test if you're a leftist or not. Here's the leftist test. No IRA love? No, it's fine. It's just I don't think bombing helps people. I disagree with it. That said, don't get me wrong. There are occasions where politics and violence coalesce. Okay? Sometimes you have to. But it's not about the bombs. It's about the intent behind the rest of it and the message. It's not about the bombs. Okay? Okay? We're talking about at a country level too. We're not talking about like oppressor classes and shit like that. That's a little bit different. But bombs are how you defeat the Sharknado. Yeah. So I disagree in general with the idea of like extreme political violence. I understand that there are ways that politics and violence sometimes need to be in the same space. Life of Mal. We could talk about that some other time. Prime for 13 months. We didn't name our stream baby. Life of Mal, our stream baby. What should our stream baby be named? How about How about no, not streamy. I'm thinking Rudy Giuliani. We're gonna reclaim the name. Rudy Giuliani. Or Rudy Ravioli. I like that. Julius Boozler? What the hell's wrong with you? Okay. Oh, we were going to test your leftism. So weak equals good and strong equals bad. Okay. All right. So, who's better, chat? This is going to test your leftism, okay? A Nazi with stage 4 cancer or a bodybuilder leftist or Hassan? Who's worse? Hassan or a Nazi with stage 4 cancer? Yep, the Nazi is worse, but you'd be wrong. That makes you a bad leftist because he's weak. Rip. What a bummer. What a bummer. Fake leftists, all of you. Fake leftists, each and every one of you.
Israel is strong, therefore it is bad. America is strong, therefore it is bad.
That's not why they're bad. Oh, baby bird. It's because the things you consider strong are the bad things. It's not that strong is bad. It's that your definition of strong, hyper-militarized, military-industrial complex, incredibly capitalist, capitalism motivating the types of wars that you fight, which is unethical, murdering people for cash. Like, this is not an ideal situation. Attacking the nerd for 5 months. 1,000 duck-sized Nazis or one Nazi-sized duck. One Nazi-sized duck, obviously. Don't you see? Proto-fascism is good. Proto-fascism is good. True.
The Palestinians are regarded as weak. Therefore, they're good.
That's
when
not,
you're guided.
No, I don't think the Palestinians. Hey. What I say? I don't like bombs. I don't think they're productive. They do bombs too. Hamas, not good. Hamas, not good. But that said, I get it. If you were being bombed over a wall by a country, like, look, you'd be in Hamas. It's the same thing. That said, I can't abide. They're doing bad. They're also very religiously motivated, which is a bad. That said, I get it. We can understand it. We can sympathize with the idea and not like champion it. It's very interesting that you just like, why can't your brain go, you know what? I understand why that happens, but I don't appreciate that it does. Strange. It's bad to be strong when you use your strength to hurt people. Yes.
By a moral compass, you don't ask who's strong and who's weak.
Right. I also wouldn't use a moral compass. I would use an ethical compass. That's important. Those are different.
You ask who's morally right and who's morally wrong.
No, ethics.
50 years ago, Israel was not a big issue for the left. Why? Because it was perceived as weak. But after the 1967 Six-Day War, in which Israel achieved a stunning military victory, it all changed. Israel became strong, so Israel became bad.
Yeah, nothing going on in the 60s. Nothing going on near 1967 that would change the political zeitgeist of your average American to consider war bad. Nothing going on during the 60s. No siree. Not a thing. Not a thing happening. There's no reason. Don't look into it. Do not look at a book. No. Don't bring up Vietnam. No. Shh. Keep it out of here. Keep that out of here, okay? No, I see a lot more of you. You keep talking about it. La. No, we're going to keep going with Dennis Prager. I don't want to hear it.
The Palestinians were weak, so they became good. So no matter how much terror Palestinians engaged in, hijacking airplanes, murdering 11 Israeli athletes and coaches at the 1972 Munich Olympics, blowing up Israelis in pizza parlors and at weddings, the left's position never changed.
What are you talking about? I don't like any of those things. Well, I don't like a single one of those things.
Her ramble was just
Flower Girl, thanks for giving one to Supreme Lil Bear. Appreciate you. Wet ass Palestinian. God damn you.
Palestinians good.
No.
Israel bad.
No. Why do they care so much about Israel? Why is this video about Israel? How the left sees the world. Power, race, and class. It doesn't say why the left hates Israel and the Jews. Like what? What?
Because the Palestinians were weak and Israel was strong. That's one of the three ways the left judges the world. You can test this theory in other...
Wait. What do you mean you're not okay with that statement?
ways. Why is the United States bad?
Why is the United States bad? Why the United States is bad? By Papa Corn. The United States is bad for a lot of reasons. The United States is bad because it decides that it needs to be an imperial military force throughout the world. The United States, how many military bases does the U.S. have? Do you know how many military bases the U.S. has? Chat. The U.S. has 800 military bases in more than 70 countries and territories abroad, from giant little Americas to small radar facilities. Britain, France, and Russia, by contrast, have about 30 foreign bases combined. You could see that maybe there's a 770 military base surplus we have here. So we have 800 military bases. There's only 195 countries. But we have 800 military bases. That's one reason. One reason why the U.S. is bad. Another reason why the U.S. could be considered bad. Long history of chattel slavery that led to systemic racist issues that leads to the further suppression and marginalization of black Americans in the United States due to nothing other than the happenstance of their birth. That's not a good thing. That's a thing that continues to happen every single day. Maybe another thing. Maybe another thing the U.S. is not great for. During the lifetime of an American, if they happen to get sick at the wrong time, they could go into, depending on what that illness is, they can go into medical bankruptcy because we have privatized health care, because we incentivize health care via profit rather than the care that you give to the American citizen. Maybe another thing. Our homelessness. Homelessness is a great. The homelessness population is about 11% are veterans. Isn't that great? 11% of homeless people in America are veterans. Of course, the same people that the Republicans say that they want to suckle all the time. 45% of all homeless veterans are African American or Hispanic, despite only being 10% or 3.4% of the U.S. veteran population, respectively. Homeless veterans are younger on average than the total veteran population. This is a combination of a lot of things. Some of it has to do with the lack of care when people return and not able to get what they need from the experiences they had, whether that be physical or mental or otherwise. Not being able to get the resources, not being able to take their military experience and parlay that into any sort of fruitful employment. Usually these people tend to be underemployed. Lots of stuff. So homelessness is another thing. Did you know that homelessness statistics in places like Sweden, it's so rare that they don't have statistics on it. You can't actually count the number of homeless people because they have so many avenues to prevent homelessness. But again, America's the best country on earth. These are just a few of the things that make America bad. Now, there's some things that make America pretty fucking cool. You know what I'm saying? America's pretty cool. But if you say you're the greatest country on earth, you better back that up. And I don't think we're doing that. I don't think we're backing that up at all, frankly.
Because it's strong. And third world countries that oppose the United States are good. Cuba, for example, has been adored by the left for decades.
Cuba's not that great. Cuba has some good ideas. Cuba has universal medicine. They have really good education stuff, but also they have a lot of suppression of free speech and stuff like that. So while they can get some things right, they have some things bad. Like, not ideal. Not ideal. But, they have some good stuff at the same time. So, you know what I'm saying? Also doesn't help that the way that we treat them from an economic standpoint.
Never mind that Cuba's Communist Party has ruined Cuba, that Cubans have no...
I think the trade embargo has probably ruined Cuba. What do you think? Do you think being locked out of the global marketplace in a global market society might have had something to do with that? Do you think maybe if they were allowed their own devices and not shut out from the rest of the world, you think maybe that would happen?
No civil rights, and Cuba is one of the poorest countries in the world. Since Cuba is weak...
Good call, baby. Mito, thanks for the 2 months. You make political discourse fun, and the community here is so wonderful. Thanks, man.
To the left, Cuba is good. The same was true with North Vietnam in the 1960s.
North Vietnam. North Vietnam. Good times. Good times. Gotta love it. So this is a situation of colonialism by the French that they wanted their freedom and they wanted to do their own thing. Yeah. And then the U.S. was like, no! Why not? Because we don't like it. Why? Because it's not good. So we helped the fascist South. Surprise.
It was considered weak, so it was good. The U.S. was strong, so it was bad.
No, it wasn't about weakness, bro. It wasn't about weak.
Didn't matter that America was trying to preserve the freedom of the South Vietnamese exactly as it had preserved the freedom of the South Koreans.
No, what about the freedom of the North Koreans? What about the freedom of the North Vietnamese? What are you talking about? What? Yeah.
The U.S. was strong, so it was bad. Which brings us back to Israel.
Why?
The stronger Israel gets, as it effectively defends itself, as its economy grows, and as its diplomatic position improves.
Wait. I think I mentioned this last time before. This is right when the stream cut out. What the fuck is happening here? What is going on here? Chat, where are their thumbs? Are their thumbs tucked into the handshake? What is happening? I am not comfortable with that. This is the most uncomfortable handshake I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, where are you putting the thumb goes inside? What? Imagine doing this. Literally, do you have someone near you right now? Are you watching with a significant other? I want you to try to pull this off. I literally want you to try to pull this off right now. It's impossible. Both your thumbs tucked in as you grab you can't do it. It's not a thing. This is not an okay situation. Now, the best situation, though, if you got that person, you still got another person next to you, take your pinkies and interlock them. Interlock them. I can't. I have, my hands aren't the same, but it basically looks something like this. Do that. That's what we call the most comfortable handshake in the world. Oh yeah. If you really want to get weird, do the Ninja Turtle, where you go like that. That's really good too. You're welcome. Business. Now you can do businesses.
The more the left hates it. The second of the left's compasses, the race compass,
the race
is another
compass.
reason the left hates
Woo!
Israel. Just as it substitutes weak and strong for good and evil,
Okay.
the left substitutes non-white and white for good and evil.
Dennis. Hold on 1 second. I gotta readjust. All right. I'm white! Look at me. I'm the whitest. It's okay. It's fine. I'm a white guy. What? The problem, do you want to know what the real problem is, Dennis? Do you want to know what the actual problem is, okay? The actual problem is not that you're white or not, and you're not good if you're black. The issue that you have, and I don't know why, is just acknowledging the shitty things that white people have done as a collective group. I mean, you can see this in data. How we vote runs against the interest of the non-white communities pretty often. Like, is it because they're white? No. Is it because of the culture? Yes. White culture is a thing, and it's got a lot of mayo in it. There's raisins in the potato salad, stuff like that. But also, it's not understanding the experience of like a black American, for instance. Not understanding that there's I don't know, the difficulties that someone who is non-white would only be able to know themselves. Zero Streaming, thanks for the tier 2, my friend. Like, I don't understand why you don't understand acknowledging a thing, like, doesn't have to be like an indictment. It's not like, like the reason you see, oh, fuck white people is because of you, Dennis. It's because you do this shit right here, where you go, what, you think all white people are evil? And they go, no. And you're like, yeah, you do. They go, okay, fuck it then. White people are evil. Get over it. Like, fuck off.
Good call, baby bird.
Rose, thank you so much for the 21 months. Because he's a shitty man, baby. He is a shitty man, baby. That's true. That's true. That's true. That could be true. That's true. Also, conversely, non-white people do not mean that they're good. Again, just acknowledging the fact that non-white people have different struggles to go through, and some of those are through the like an understanding the viewing through not just class goggles, you know. Thanks, Burke, for the 24 months, man. Not just understanding that class plays an issue, but also understanding how race plays an issue within class. That's important too. No problem with that.
The left doesn't judge people by their actions, but by their race.
Literally untrue. Literally untrue. It's literally the actions of people. Hey, you did slavery. Who did the most of it? White people. This is a fact. It's okay. Facts don't care about your feelings. That's it. That's the whole thing, man. Like all you gotta do... all you gotta do is understand what the critique is. The critique is not white people are bad. The critique is white people have done bad things. Why have white people done bad things? Well, because culturally speaking, white people thought they were superior. Some white people continue to think they're superior. This is not a good thing because white people are demonstrably not superior. So, we don't go on with that line of thought, so we don't denigrate or alienate or marginalize, further marginalize anyone that's not white anymore. We don't do it, and we don't abide by it when we see it happen from a white person or whoever it is. We don't allow that to continue to go. We don't allow that to just always be a thing. We don't like that. Let's not do it. You know what I'm saying? A deer, thanks so much for the 69 biddies. Slurp.
That's why, for example, the left asserts that a black person cannot be a racist. Only a white person can be a racist.
Good call, baby bird.
Skooma Addict, thanks for the 3 months. So, we need to get better at communicating this as left-leaning people. I'm fine if we still call it racist, but look, we need to understand that there's a difference between prejudice and racism. Racism has this sort of systemic power structure baked into it, right? Racism is like not just, hey, you're whatever epithet you can think of. Depending on who you're targeting it at, it's also the microaggressive shit. It's also the other stuff that's baked in. A black person doesn't really have that lattice, that framework. It's prejudicial, and I agree that's not a good thing. Like just calling it the same thing is just a disservice to the actual experience. And I understand the idea, right? Because the simple idea behind racism is that you look at someone, you judge them solely based on their skin color or perceived race, and you go on, that's racism. That's fine as a layman term. That's fine as like a colloquial thing. And I think that's useful, and that's okay. You can say that black people can be racist. Okay. Because I know how you mean it. And I hear this a lot, and I think a lot of leftists hear this a lot, and we go, okay, yeah, sort of. But like, the broader topic is about like, okay, are you just being mean to this person because they're white? Okay. But there's not like this, again, there's not this baked in other shit. There's not the years and years of chattel slavery that led to Jim Crow, that led to like the civil rights, that led to redlining, that leads to, the current state of the day project, stuff like that. Like, there's not that built into it. It's the reverse, because the power structure was tilted towards, and continues to, although it's eroding, tilts towards white people, and that's just like the point. And I don't know why we can't get over this. It's not great. X-Chud here, you helped me get out of it. Using the word racism for both the systemic and the intentional thing was what made me cringe at the idea for so long. Right. It's like toxic masculinity. I bring this up a lot. Just on the face of it, because you hear the word, like the title of it. Like if you heard, look, I watched this movie the other week. It was called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Also Bigfoot. Now, if I'm watching the movie The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Also Bigfoot, and then you also look at the box art for The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Also Bigfoot, you'll see, let me show you. It's got Sam fucking Elliott in it. This is the poster for it. The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Also Bigfoot. He's carrying a gun. He's walking in the woods. There's Nazis around. It's Sam fucking Elliott. Look at this guy. This is the kind of shit they put out. He's got a gun. He's shooting at stuff. Oh, look, there's all these. Whoa, The Man Who Killed Bigfoot. You know what this movie's about? Not those two events. Not those at all. You know what the movie's about? Sam Elliott is a world-weary ex-military super guy. He did actually shoot Hitler, and he deals with that and the sort of once you take the man's life, it changes you sort of thing. And it goes about his family, and there's a little interlude with Bigfoot involved a little bit, and then the movie's over. It's not a good movie. It's not good. Okay? It just isn't. And part of the reason is the branding was off. You expected a certain thing out of the branding. You expected a certain thing out of how it tells you it is itself, out of the fucking cover art. So similarly, when we communicate ideas, if we say toxic masculinity, which is a fine term, immediately you understand someone's going to have a knee-jerk reaction and go, I'm not toxic. I mean, they might be fucking toxic, but they might be like, I'm masculine and I'm not toxic. What the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? That's immediately what people's knee-jerk reaction is. So it's the same shit when you say racism. Like, yeah. Don't you talk bad about Sam Elliott? It wasn't his decision to make a shitty movie, was it? Sam Elliott did fine. It was bad. Didn't Hitler kill himself? Shadowheart. It's called The Man Who Killed Hitler and then also Bigfoot. And you're worried about historical accuracy? It's okay, my friend.
And that provides the second reason Israel is labeled evil. Israelis are considered white and Palestinians are not white.
What? When I think of an Israeli, I don't... When I think of an Israeli person, I do not think white. Do you? Am I nuts? No, it doesn't seem like I'm nuts. Some Israelis are white passing for sure, but like definitely not. Like always. Huh. Like if I just type in Israeli, am I going to get like someone... If I type in Israeli, am I going to get white passing people? Not really. Like, not really. Sometimes, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, sure. They have a mix of people just like anybody else. Just like any other country. There you go. There's one. Like, but there's always like this, like they have just different features. I don't know how to explain it, but this guy doesn't come across as like white to me. You know what I mean? Like, at least from the American perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like Netanyahu is like pretty close to white passing, but is he though? His skin tone is there. I don't know. I just don't understand being like Israel is a white country. Kind of. Kind of. It's whitish. Look, you know what happens here because white people just we have weird blinders. Like if this guy was walking around, like this guy's walking around. Be like, oh, where are you from? Como estás? Like, that's obviously a Mexican person. Like, come on.
Never mind that more than half of Israel's population is not white.
Yeah, we know.
The result? The left essentially ignores Palestinian terror and loudly condemns Israel's responses to terror.
Do you think Israel is responding to terror, or do you think Israel instigates terror?
Now to the left's third compass, the class compass.
There we go.
This is the third way in which the left replaces traditional Western and Judeo-Christian categories of good and evil. Instead of judging people's actions by the same moral yardstick, that of good and evil,
Okay.
the left judges people's actions based on their economic class.
That's not true. You know how I know? Do you know how I know? Because we don't like Trump supporters. And lots of them are poor white people that live in middle America. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain lens, obviously, leftists will look through class, because class is an important discussion of, like, topic discussion, because the idea here is, hey, we are having class warfare where we shouldn't have it. We should have solidarity with those that have similar class issues as us, but they don't understand what the class issue is because they bought into the propaganda of capitalism. So it's a tug of war because you have judging people's actions based on their economic class. No. This is more, the left doesn't judge people's actions based on their economic class. The left judges people's, like, really the left untangles someone's worth from their economic class. And then their actions are a separate thing that we sort of put to the side, because that's when you understand what, if you're good or you're bad, right? Like, that's like, your actions are totally different. Your actions are apart from your class. They don't necessarily run into each other. They can be instigated by your class. For instance, crime. Like, if you do, like, if you sell drugs, for instance, and if you take a moral stance against drug selling, which is stupid, but you can do it, then you could be like, okay, well, class played a role here. How does it play a role? It's literally just a useful way to try to understand humans and understand the problems behind it. Any sociologist will tell you, whether they're a right-winger or a left-winger, they will say that economic class is a great predictor for behavior. Like, for a lot of different things. It's not the only predictor, but it's a really good starting point to decide where someone's life may head, and the decisions they may make under certain situations, right? Just depends.
Rich people and rich nations are bad. Poor people and poor nations are good. This began with Karl Marx, who divided the world by economic class, not moral behavior. To Marx and to Marxism, good and evil is entirely class-based.
No. What? What? Has he ever heard of a class trader? No? Guess not. Left looks for context in the class, race, lived experience of folks, not just someone's actions divorced from the human themselves. Exactly. Yeah. I haven't tuned into the most recent Jordan Peterson videos. Didn't realize Hannah was Hannah now. It's really cool. She felt comfortable going to public with it coming out. Such a cool community you guys have here. Shame I haven't turned in for so long. Looking forward to the new Ruben videos. Just binged a bunch. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, Hannah's been out for like almost, 2-3 years? It's longer for me, so I can't remember. Race isn't real, so any racial lines are literally arbitrary. Yes. Imagine misunderstanding Marx that badly.
Good is defined as workers, evil as owners. And that is the third reason for the left's hatred of Israel and of America.
What?
They are both wealthy.
It's not about wealth, bro. What do you do with your wealth? What do you do with your wealth?
As fewer and fewer people perceive the world in terms of good and evil, substituting a power, race...
Because good and evil is so fucking unhelpful. Okay, is it good or evil to steal bread? If you steal bread, are you good or evil? Oh, do you need a little bit more information to decide? Hopefully the first question was, well, what's the situation? Oh, you say it's good. You shouldn't. You shouldn't just say it's good, Rachel, and here's why. I'm going to pick on you for a second. Here's why. What if that person was just hoarding the bread? Like, he just stole all the bread. Has money for the bread, but he just stole all the bread because he didn't want anyone else to have it. It wasn't so that he could feed his starving family. It was just so he could have it, and so you didn't. Or have a monopoly on the bread and sell it. Scalp the bread, if you will. See, that could be evil, but if you're literally just stealing bread to save someone from starvation, obviously that's good. This is why you need more information and context. You can't, like, there's just no way that you can just go, that's good and evil. Is Hitler good or evil? Is Hitler good or evil? You literally can't do that without providing context. Oh, he was a fascist who was in charge of the decision-making behind the murder of millions of people. Oh, bad guy. But if you heard Hitler, he was just an artist. Oh, okay, I guess he was a good guy. I never heard of him. Otherwise, that's the only information I have is that. Okay, sounds fine. I like artists. Support artists. Don't steal their work, and make sure you pay for your art, right? Like, you should pay Hitler for his art. That's a good thing. But you don't, like, unless you have context of the frickin' person, you have no idea, right? Like, it's fucking stupid. PragerU is so dumb.
Race or class compass for a moral compass, you will inevitably get more evil and more hatred of the good, beginning with Israel and America and ending with Western civilization.
Dennis Prager should definitely come talk to me. What do you think, chat? Yeah, I agree he won't do it either. Wah, 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 wah. Anyway, he's too chicken shit to debut anyone to debut anyone allowed to debate, I assume. I love that sometimes your guys fat finger your phones and they autocorrect to something that's just fucking incoherent. I appreciate that. Anyway, this was Dennis Prager. He's a trash bag person. He's very, very stupid. Yeah, not an ideal individual. We're not a big fan of him. So stupid. I'll talk to Dennis Prager anytime. I'll wear the corn suit. It'll be good.